Many of Ramses' 45 sons were buried here. From a hall of columns, a corridor leads to the side tombs. A statue of Ramses, depicted as the god of death, watches over everything. Because centuries of storms have destroyed the interior of the tombs, weeks found little to salvage. But some artifacts of extraordinary value managed to survive.
Yeah, let's take it off.
Like these bones and skulls, which might reveal who was buried here.
This, I think, is almost certainly one of the sons of Ramses. It was found in the tomb. I don't know which son it is, but I was looking at this more closely. We took samples of the skulls, and we also took samples of the associated long bones, which is to say the bones of the arm and the leg. We don't have the results yet, but I'm pretty sure we're going to find that they all are members of the same family. It could be very exciting.
Yeah.
Ramses' greatest wish was fulfilled. The gods granted him almost 70 years on the throne. Most Egyptians have only known this one pharaoh, Ramses the Great. He brought them an era of peace and wealth. His architectural and political legacy has given him a kind of immortality. He dies at almost 90. Unbelievable at a time when most people didn't reach half that age. But when he finally passes, his tomb is ready. Ramses ruled at the peak of his people's history. Still today, he's considered one of the most important kings of Egypt, and certainly no one left a greater mark on the land, having built colossal temples on the southern borders of the empire and in Thebes. Ramses will depart his splendid tomb in the Valley of the Kings and celebrate eternal life. And when he reaches the afterlife, he will help maintain order in the land of the living. That idea consoles his people.
Given the population of Egypt at the time of Ramses II, let's assume it's 1.5 million people, 2 million people, given the enormity of the death of the only ruler most Egyptians had ever known, I would think that Egypt was in something of a state of chaos, of confusion. And people just probably wandered about shaking their head and wondering what the future held, what was in store.
After Ramses' death, the empire begins a slow, gradual decline. But the cult of the dead would continue for another 1,500 years. The Egyptian way of death even survives the Egyptians. When the Romans rule Egypt, they adopt Egyptian customs. Emperors crown themselves as pharaohs and assume the ancient rituals of the death cult, including mummification. Based on the stylized death masks of the pharaohs, the Romans create individual portraits of their deceased. The Egyptian culture could not be erased.
To say that ancient Egyptian religion was a glue that bound its people together, I think is a very true statement. It was one of those things, far more than a common language, far more than common costume, a hairdo, or whatever. It was one of those things that really gave you an emotional bond with your fellow Egyptian.
To the Egyptians, life, death, and afterlife were all one thing, celebrated in astonishing monuments that have weathered the millennia. Pyramids, writing, temples, and graves bear witness to the idea that the people saw their country as paradise on earth. The belief in resurrection would outlive the Egyptians, finding its way into Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And in this way, perhaps they really did achieve